Hey everyone, this is episode 36 of Noodle Time. Welcome back. Here with me is probably the biggest Achacha haters out there, Eric OG and Herman. How's it going?
That's two weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row.
Hey, man, the people keep hating. I don't know what to tell you.
What's going on, brother? What's going on, man? You know, it was a busy weekend. I'm excited about tonight's episode and to get into it with y'all and talk some footy.
Yep. Yeah,
I'm not a hater. It's going well, man. I'm not a hater. I just wish I made $6 million a year. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, we're back, and this is the first time this year that we're actually recording, or at least covering all three teams since they all played this past weekend, and it's been pretty interesting. Because each team got essentially a different outcome, which we're definitely gonna be talking about, and it just feels weird because like that Dash game felt more disappointing than the Dynamo 2 game, and the Dynamo game was pretty amazing. And this is like all kinds of emotions going around, which I'm definitely down to talk about. I don't know about you guys.
Bro, yes, dude. Definitely down to talk about. All right, so first off, Friday night, obviously me and you went to the Austin game in Austin against Dose, and it was a sold-out stadium, and that was emotional because we wanted to whoop their ass or whoop their butts, and we didn't do either of the or. I mean, we played well in the first half and then just kind of gave it up in the second half. And then Saturday, like you said, Dynamo, yeah, bro, it was a good fight, a good feisty game. Both defenses showed up, and then Sunday, expectations for the Dash were shot to friggin' crap. That's not what I expected from the Dash. Man, all right, pow. That's where I'm at.
No, yeah, and essentially before we get started, again to the episode, what we're gonna do essentially, and from here over the course of the season, is whenever we have all three teams playing at the same time or like over the same weekend, we're gonna be covering those in chronological order. So whoever comes first, we're gonna be covering first, and so on and so forth. So because Dynamo 2 played first, they played this past Friday, we're going to be covering them first, and we're going to get to Dynamo second, and Dash third, and I will see that order's not going to be the same one every single weekend. One team's going to play at
schedule
1 p.m.
changes.
Yeah, one team's going to play at 1 p.m. on a Friday, next team is going to play at 9 p.m. on a Sunday, which is going to suck because West Coast sucks, and it's annoying. But deal with it. And with that said, let's get into the episode. Let's go ahead and talk about the Dynamo 2 game because this game was pretty interesting. We came into this game. I was actually in that game with Eric as well as Webb and a bunch of Dynamo fans and players' families. And this was it at, I believe, was Palmer Field, which is right next to the Austin FC training complex. And like Eric said initially, it was sold out because it was their first game, Austin FC 2's first game ever, and obviously there was somewhat of a rivalry still going on because of obviously the rivalry that we have with the first teams, and yeah, like it. Thankfully, like the folks around me were pretty friendly, but when we got to the game, that's where it got pretty intense, especially in the first half when Dynamo 2 had the upper hand. And that didn't last long until the second half because that's when things fell off. And to talk about the roster, we did see a lot of Dynamo players, or at least first-team players playing. And that one of my biggest highlights was definitely coming back from last year, Papa Ndoye just scoring the first goal of the season for Dynamo 2. He had like a pretty solid showing up until he got subbed out in the second half. And I also got like initial showing of Javency van der Kust, one of the signings made this season for the first team. And this man's pretty fast. I like how he plays, and I feel like he's going to be a threat. And I really hope he keeps getting those minutes with Dynamo 2, only because he's going to get acclimated, and I feel like he's going to be seeing first team minutes pretty soon.
Hey, man, we had different opinions on KVD or KV, whatever his friggin' name, his initials are. All right, so if y'all haven't seen him in person yet, he is small. He's very small and he's very quick. He's got speed. He's got pace. He's played. What did he play? The left back, right? Yeah, he played the left back.
Yep.
And he plays forward so much where it got him out of position, and he was beat on the counter quite a few times. And when Austin scored their first goal, we were up 1-0. Austin scored their first goal. They played that wing, their right wing, and he wasn't able to get back quick enough, and they were able to get a good cross in and finish the goal. So little Debbie, I mean, I know he's an offensive style, but man, he can't push up too friggin' far, and he was getting into the attack a little too much where it countered his defense. But yeah, I mean, I was okay with him. I just wish he would just hold it down a little bit.
No, yeah, and I like how you said that. That was funny. But yeah, the main thing about the second half, it was like the Austin FC2 exploited the flanks and they got back. They got back in the game, and Houston never didn't seem to recover at all. And also considering the individual mistakes towards later on towards the second half, where we went down to 10 men because of Beto getting a red card very late in the game. That
was the 92nd minute. We were already down 2-1, so that didn't hurt us. What hurt us is the first half. I mean, in the end, we outshot them 16-11. But in the first half, we were the better team in the first half. The team played very well. They were taking shots. They were taking opportunities. Austin was still trying to figure out their groove and trying to figure out their game, and we could not finish anything. We couldn't put nothing in the net. Credit to their keepers to making some excellent saves. Second half started. It took Papa 5 minutes to score the goal, and then everything just changed. Both coaches made some adjustments. Austin made the better adjustments, and we got out-coached the rest of that half. They put in 2 goals by Noel. Austin fans love Noel. He's scored in some of their preseason games last year and this year, and they love him. He scored 2 goals, and they took advantage of it. And yes, the referee gave us a lot. We had 6 yellow cards on our own end. Beto Avila got the second yellow card in the 92nd minute to get a red card, which by then it didn't matter much, except now he won't be able to play next weekend, which too many fans aren't happy with him anyway, so we're not missing nothing there.
Yeah, and other couple highlights I like to bring out is that we also got to see Jair Gonzalez, the number 10 that was recently assigned to an MLS Next Pro contract by Dynamo, and he only played about like 4 minutes plus stoppage time, so I didn't feel like it was like a lot of playing time to have an opinion, but he has like some good technical ability. That's what I can say for sure. But I like to see some more of Jair Gonzalez. And the other thing
family. He had family there too, didn't he? Right in front of us.
I think,
or friends.
I think it was for one of the other Gonzalez on the roster. But,
the dude that had the assist. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said initially that like there were a lot of family members for like the team there, which was pretty nice to see. And Jerry Gonzalez, like I said, he only played like about 4 minutes of regulation. And that wasn't enough to make an opinion. And I guess the other thing I wanted to say is that Asik Soto, the Dynamo Academy player, he also did a 75th minute, but he fell off because every time he received the ball, like either there was something wrong, and like later on towards the game, like he just looked frustrated and he wasn't getting his way. Maybe he wasn't like playing correctly or not the way that he wanted to. But I just felt like he was very frustrated for some reason, and he had like a pretty good bad outing despite only being 75 minutes into the game.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that he got to play because it was exciting when I saw him come in. But it's kind of hard for a player to get into form when there's only 10, 15 minutes left in the game. And then Austin was pressing and they were pushing and they were gelling at the time. So it all kind of makes sense why he didn't find his groove and get on top of the ball. He could have been a game changer, but he didn't figure it out, didn't find it. But I'm glad that he's playing for Dos and he's getting those opportunities. So hopefully, maybe he starts next weekend with Avila being red carded. So we'll see.
Sure. No, yeah. Next week they are playing Colorado Rapids. They're hosting their first home game of the season against Colorado Rapids 2 on Sunday. So. It's
6
still
o'clock.
Houston there at 6 o'clock. Be at Viva Stadium. It's a fun time.
Nope.
I went to the.
Whoa. Uh-oh. From what I understand, it's not Aviva Stadium no more.
What's it called?
It's now Sabercat Stadium.
Sabercat Stadium, really?
Yep. So
like
BioCity enlightened us today and said that it's not called Aviva, it's called Sabercats, but they didn't give a reason to what changed, or I don't think they know. But so we're not going to Aviva no more. We're going to Sabercat Stadium. So like you said, 6:00 on Sunday. Next weekend we're hosting. And the biggest thing right now is how can we get more fans out to go watch Down to Dose? Because after Austin oversold out their stadium, people were sitting on the rails and on the concrete in front of us. Can we get more people out to that stadium? And shout out to some players' families who asked that question today and asked for people to show up on Twitter today. So let's get them out there if we can, man. If you're available 6:00 on Sunday, go to the friggin' game.
Sabercat Stadium, y'all. Like it's a fun experience, especially when I went to the regular season finale last year against North Texas SC, and it was so much fun. And obviously because the Dynamo had like a pretty good season last year, a lot of people showed up, and it was essentially the last home game because of the playoffs. And yeah, if you have a chance on Sunday, go to Sabercat Stadium, support the team. They're the future of the Dynamo, so it might as well just show up and show support, really.
Support the kids, bro. Support the kids, man.
OSG is
Yeah.
Do Dynamo tickets come with season ticket memberships or no?
No, but I mean we're able to get a couple freebies through our season ticket holders plan. So no, we can't go to every single game for free, but I mean they're $10 tickets, so not going to hurt your bankroll to go to a Dynados game.
Yeah,
it is on 288 South, so for a lot of people in the north, it's going to be a long drive, but that's the only inconvenience.
Think Pearland, on the way to Pearland, basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and before we move on to the next game, OSG, would you like to give us like a really condensed MLS Next Pro recap?
Yeah, man. So we do still have rivals in MLS Next Pro, even though this is second team. So North Texas, of course, you mentioned North Texas. They played at LAFC yesterday, and they scored in the North Texas scored in the 9th minute of the game to start that game off. It was a pretty even game, but LAFC took a red card in the 50th minute, and I think that kind of changed the game where they were allowed to finish off, and they ended up beating LAFC 1-0. And then our other rival, SKC scored in the 11th minute to take a 1-0 lead, but then Colorado came back, and they ended up scoring midway through the game. And then in extra time, and then I think it was the 92nd minute, they scored a goal to beat SKC 2-1. So right now our rivals, North Texas win, SKC lost. We took a loss, so we'll see what happens next week. Like you said, we host Colorado. Colorado beat the SKC, so they're coming in on a win. We're coming in on a loss, but we're hosting and they're going on the road.
Yeah, and they can definitely turn that around. So we'll see how it goes, and I'm interested to see how the lineup changes compared to last week. And let's go down on those. You guys better win next weekend, and yeah, they can pull it off for sure.
So,
and one little quick last note: Mujib Moranos played center back for Dynados during this game as well, and so that was kind of a little bit different than what we're expecting seeing him and where he played. But he did a good job. Maples did a good job. So for the most part, the team did a good job.
Yep.
So, question for you both, from the perspective of the Dynamo fan that doesn't follow Dynados religiously, like both of y'all. Who are Dynamo players that were like part of the first team that are playing in Dynados? If you can recap those, and who are the youth academy future stars that we can keep our eyes on when we go watch the team this Sunday night?
So as you listen to us talk about it, we kind of mentioned them all. Vanderkuss, who is the Dutch guy, he ended up starting on the left side. Mujib played center back. Maples played center back. Beto Avila was the striker. We still have Evans. He mentioned Soto came in late in the game. I forget who else I'm missing, but there's still a couple other key players right there that just check out Dose and just kind of get an eye for it. They are also on Apple TV, so the same. If you're watching Dynamo, you can watch Dose on Apple TV at the same time. So you have no excuses for not to watch it, and just unless you're absolutely busy.
Yeah, and also some of the academy players that were featured, being Sig Soto, I mentioned him already. He was subbed on. Also, like Joe Ferris, he's been involved with the Egyptian national team, or like the youth national team per se. He didn't play this game, but he was featured on the bench, so we might see him this next weekend. And also Diego Gonzalez being there as well, and Jathan Juarez as well. He's been he had his eye, like the Dynamo, the first team has his eye on him, and I'm excited to see where that goes. And he came in at the 86th minute, I believe, and yeah, he was just very fast. He added some energy to the game, but it was pretty late over there, so I always hope to see more of the academy players playing. Obviously, that being the main thing about MLS Next Pro, giving these players more playing time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next weekend just to see that.
I'll be watching. Let's move on to the big boys now.
Yep. So let's go ahead and talk about Dynamo game, because this was a very, even though it wasn't as high scoring as I thought it was going to be, it was still pretty somewhat entertaining when it comes to being a Dynamo fan for a long time now and trying to see how this game was going to end. Because if you have been following Dynamo for a long time, then you will know that keeping a 1-0 scoreline would usually meant either you're going to tie up the game at the last minute, or you're going to lose the game at the last minute. And thankfully that didn't happen this time around, because Houston got the first goal in the second half, and they looked like they were ready to defend, which was very strange to see. Just going back to these past few years, it was just like unheard of, really. And they made it look somewhat easy, because in New York City, they were trying to get back on the board, but they kept getting frustrated by Dynamo, and Houston will essentially just hold on to that 1-0 scoreline to get 3 points. And just looking at the game and analyzing it, man, they really played their hearts out, because New York City FC, they're not an easy team to beat.
Dude, so big shout out. Like, defense has been a question mark, but Hadebe and Bartlow in the middle and Archer right in front of them, they held it down, and New York didn't know what to friggin' do. Stares at right back. Who the hell is that guy right there?
Yep.
Did he lose 10 years? He looked great yesterday. I mean, or Saturday. He looked great. Franco Escobar, I already forgot about the guy, sort of. But, they played their hearts out, and now people are really starting to believe in Bartlow. And I jumped on his train like immediately this offseason, like Bartlow and teenage. No, it's not going to be Steres starting. But they played their butts off yesterday or Saturday, and that was what just like you said, New York was frustrated. They could not do anything. Now, discredit to the top three guys that were playing for us on the attack. We still can't score. We needed VAR to help us out, but that's what it is. That's the Dynamo way. Yeah, that's the Dynamo way. Hector Herrera gets fouled in the box. Initially wasn't called. Got to go to VAR again, and then it's called for a penalty. Bossy takes the penalty kick. He scores this one, even though he hit the post. Come on, bro. he's hit the keeper's hand, and he's hit the post. So I guess that if you got to score, that's how you score. But I mean, it was, I'm happy with the way they played. They played very competitive. We scored in the 60-something minute, I believe. 55th minute. So we held it down for 35 minutes, plus the World Cup 8 minutes added time that turned into being almost 10 minutes. So I'm proud for the Dynamo, bro. And after we played well in Cincinnati, we got our butts kicked in New England in the second half. We came home and beat Austin, and then we did it again with another clean sheet against New York. Mr. Optimistic Soccer Guy right here. It gives me hope and like, what can we, but now we go back on the road. So, I like the way we're playing. Benny Ball is kind of working. And like you said, once we scored our goal and we made adjustments to go defensive, and New York kind of got the possession going back up to their favor. I don't like that. I still want to kind of push the attack a little bit and not give them so many opportunities, even though they didn't get really opportunities. But man, that was it was a gritty fight, and we're not used to that. We felt the Dynamo coming on, and it did not work that way.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah. I know her mom was right behind me, and he was making some noise and kept slapping me on the shoulders. So, Mom, what'd you think about the game, bro?
Yeah, I think we had a good view of the penalty. Sitting, all three of us, we were sitting in the supporters section, and it's on that end where the foul was committed. But for the penalty, what I liked more was the build-up. We were basically touching the ball inside their own box, very nicely built up. I was sad he couldn't pull the trigger, but thankfully they got the call right. And like you touched on it, we're seeing Bartholomew grow up before our own eyes, and kudos to Onstad, because this was his first draft pick, basically, as he took on as the GM. So good on them. And you touched on it too. When I saw the lineup, two things popped up for me. Teres as right back, and then no Sebas playing up top, right? So I was judgmental, about the right back, but he held it down, and I think it's because now you're starting to see that chemistry between the two center backs and Arthur as the CDM. Now they're starting to really solidify and work together and cover each other's back as they defend. And also Ache everywhere, when the team's in trouble, he goes back and gives an outlet to the center back so they can not just clear the ball, start playing from the back. And he also, as you've seen it, he's more free to attack this year. And so it's good to see him go forward a little bit more. So great game. The first 45 to me personally were a little boring because it was a stalemate. It was nobody could create a chance. Nobody could take control of the game. But in the second half, you really saw the grit of the Dynamo that we, like you alluded to, we haven't seen in a long time. And as a fan, that's all we want to see, right? We want to see our team fight.
No, yeah, and definitely one of my main takeaways is that, like, obviously that Hector Herrera, like, he's coming up big now, and he's coming back from a season that he barely did anything, and this past few games now, like 4 games in, and he's putting all the effort. And you saw it against New York City FC. He's running up and down, claiming on the balls, winning all the balls. He's gonna cross the ball like on the flank. If it's not there, he's in the middle, running the ball, passing it around, and it's just great to see. And I guess also the most important one, at least for me, was that Brooklyn Reigns. He's 18 years old. He makes his first MLS start. He plays 75 minutes, and in those 75 minutes, like he looks like a MLS veteran. Like this kid is like insane, and it's just his first ever MLS start. Like, just imagine the amount of nerves in just being in that position, just playing a team like New York City FC. Like, he was just playing the ball like he was a kid on the park, and he was just running past all the players on his path, passing it around, creating opportunities, and I love how he played. And he's definitely making himself a candidate to be a starter. Obviously, being in the midfield is definitely a big competition, because in this obviously this game in particular, Coco is not available because of international duty, and he's gonna be fighting for that spot again when Coco comes back. But yeah, like it's just like evidence that Brooklyn Reigns is ready to be a starter. I feel like it's just one game, so anything can happen now. But at the same time, like, he looks like a starter, and he's gonna have to earn it though.
Well, dude, that was one of the questions that everybody was asking this week. Who's going to replace Coco? Who's going to replace Coco? Does Bossy drop back and play the midfield finally, the 10 or whatever, and we put a different wing up there? And it to go with Ben Olsen, and even what Asher said in the preseason that Brooklyn Reigns has been looking real good. They gave him the start, and the kid proved himself, and he almost played the entire game. He almost scored a friggin' goal, bro. I think he got a little too excited and just put a little too much on it. Now he had to hustle. He had to be quick about that shot, but I mean, he did his job, and he was pushing forward, playing next to the ghost Corey Baird. So it was exciting watching Brooklyn Reigns, and so that means Coco, you don't have to play 90 minutes no more. And like Fox said, that was only one game. So let's see more of Reigns, but it gives the coach motivation. Like, he's in form. Let's use him more. He doesn't, he can come off the bench and sub if someone's having a bad game or not playing too well, or we need to make an adjustment, because he could be different than Coco. He can. I mean, not to take Achi off the field, but if Achi is having a bad game, Reigns can go in for him, man. Saucedo could do for Archer. Man, good game, Brooklyn Reigns. The first teenager to start for the Dynamo. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you.
It took a while, but it's good to get that first one off our back, and he kind of opens the doors. It's important for him to do well because it opens the door for those that are behind him in the academy. But I also want to give a shout out to the coach, because he not just started Reigns, he started my boy Quinones, which I was personally disappointed with him because I was hoping he would take the opportunity and grab it by the horns. But truth be told, I mean, this is an embarrassing confession, but that play that you're talking about where Reigns almost scored, I thought it was Quinones at first when it happened live. And then I looked at the back of the jersey. I'm like, oh, snap. It's freaking Brooklyn. He was everywhere, dude. He was everywhere the ball was. He was right there. I was, like all of us, we were very impressed. But it's good to know that he can start earning those minutes and start playing as a sub and work his way up, compete for that spot later in the year.
That's another spot. If we lose Coco in the summer, Brooklyn Reigns steps in.
That's what I'm thinking, dude. Cash in, dude. Sell high.
It's all coming
Cash
together.
money.
It's all coming together, but yeah. And I guess before we get into the questions for this game, I also want to add that after that game, I believe it was on Sunday, Glenn Davis mentioned that he believes that Dynamo are trying to sign an attacking player. He didn't specify what position was, but obviously one of the main things about this team is that it's in dire need of a winger that can at least create some plays. And if that's the case, then that's definitely more than welcome. And we'd like to see what kind of player that is before we make any other assumptions. But yeah, it's interesting to think about. And I don't know if you guys have any other closing thoughts before we get into the questions.
Well, and that's just crazy to think. We do need a more prolific attacking player, but that's just crazy to think because we can go back to the defender from Denmark, the Danish guy, Shavinko or whatever. I'm watching Hadabi and Barlow play right now, and I'm like, I don't want him to come in and replace either one of them at the same time. What are we going to do? What's Benny's plans? Can we save that money and use it somewhere else? But there's obviously a plan. So same thing with the forward. He's going to come, or the winger, or whoever he is, the attacking player. He's going to come in, and someone's got to get benched. Someone we're not going to see. The easy, obvious one is your boy Quinones, Herman, because his loan ends in the summer. So he's the one that can go. We take his place, but then we don't get to see him no more. So, whatever. I mean, let's see who it is, and then we get excited about it. But I reached out to Glenn Davis on Twitter today, and he didn't reply. So I was asking for more details. But, of course, he can only give what he knows or is willing to.
And that's a good point, OSG. They're just going to recycle the same formula, right? Quinones is up in the summer. Okay, let's take another flyer on an under 22 with potential that make 1 year loan deal that we can sign if he does well for us.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, I'll take the forward from El Salvador last night. He fits Benny's style.
Yeah,
he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
And let's get into the questions about the game. Chris Reich
Let's do it.
Are you okay if we keep playing ugly soccer but continue to get results and barely squeeze a playoff spot? I mean, as long as we're getting 3 points, I'm not complaining, regardless of if
Well,
it's an
hold
ugly
on.
win.
Who said it was ugly to begin with? I mean, Chris Righteous did, I guess, but I wouldn't call that an ugly win. I call that a feisty
Well,
win.
but and to be fair, like on the question, like in the question itself, he did put it under quotation marks. So I'm assuming it's just like
Okay,
the general sentiment, like for certain people, and
because we
yeah,
can't score.
It is
yeah,
ugly,
and
dude.
I mean the first half was ugly for
Yeah.
sure, but yeah, like I mean we got 3 points, and that's all I care about, honestly.
Win, 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 winner, winner, chicken dinner.
That's what I
Let's
was
just
gonna
get it.
say. Yeah, if we were like used to making the playoffs, like back in '06, '07, I'd be like, hell no, this is unacceptable. But the fact that we haven't done anything the last decade, yeah, I just care about the points.
Yeah. And the next question for that one, this comes from Starless Scene 28. If you could improve one thing on this team after the near NYCFC match, what would it be? And yeah,
The striker, the striker.
look, hey guys, I'm gonna say this only once. This is the second time that Corey Bear starts, and this is the second win in a row with Corey starting. So
Oh, get out of here.
obviously there's a thing going on. I'm joking, but I mean, like obviously but clearly there's like some kind of preference for Ben Olsen to keep starting Corey Baird, and maybe it's a thing about like work ethic. Maybe he likes how he comes down to defend and plays forward, but. But yeah, I mean, for Corey Baird, he better get those goals in because I feel like he's gonna get his starting spot taken away, and Sebas better wake up as well because we need goals.
And real quick, let's just talk about Baird. So yes, Benny Boy said that he likes his more because he's more defensive than Sebastian Fede is, and he does drop back more. He does hustle a little bit more than Sebastian does, so he's more involved. But as far when it came to attacking, he was very, very average. He didn't do anything that stood out. He received the ball and he turned and touched it. He didn't play no through balls. He didn't play nothing over the top. He didn't set up no creative chances. He was very average. And you're the striker. You're the guy that's supposed to be the most prolific scorer during the game or whatever. So I don't know. We need to figure this out. We definitely need to figure this out. Sebastian Fede hadn't started 3 games in a row, and we've only played 4. And so we're going to play San Jose, and they're an attacking team. So let's see. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to do. We got to see more, but let's get Seabass back in the game, please.
Yep.
And the other thing I would add is, let me ask you this: both of y'all, aside from scoring the penalty, did y'all see Basi being involved in the attack, or I see your facial expression. Like, that's my point, right? That's what I want to see next game. Is I want to see him more involved, creating or being in charge of creating attacks for the team.
Yeah,
So
I see what's pushing the ball, but I get what you're saying for sure.
So, guys, we're on YouTube, by the way. So we're sitting here talking to each other and seeing our facial expressions. So if you're listening, go hang out on YouTube with us. It's obviously not live, but go listen to us on YouTube, see our expressions. So Bossi was a defensive and very involved defensive and pressing for us. But once we won the ball, he kind of did disappear, but that's kind of our Achilles heel for the final third right now. We're not creative in those final third, and Quinones didn't play that well last night. Baird didn't play that well last night, attacking, and Bossi didn't play that well attacking last night. Bossi was the one who defensively intercepted that ball that gave it back to Brooklyn Reigns, who almost scored on. But yes, that is a good point. Bossi didn't have as good a game as we're expecting him to have to be our creator, who is our prolific creator that we're supposed to have.
But yeah, and the next question that goes with this game comes from Mr. Mexican, and he's asking for our thoughts of this squad as the season is progressing. And this is coming from a report from Matt Doyle from MLS that essentially just mentions that Houston's direct speed of 1.08 meters per second is the league's slowest, and their passes per sequence, which is 3.7, is fifth behind only Dallas, Atlanta, Seattle, and the Galaxy. And I feel like for me, at least, that's just telling me that they're trying to keep the tempo of the game, or at least try to slow things down and not to rush things. At least that's how I'm taking it, because like it's still pretty early in the season, and at least that's what I've noticed so far when watching the game.
Which is also a weird stat when we lost possession the past two home games to New York and to Austin. They had a higher possession percentage. So it's a weird stat to try to understand when we're trying to possess the ball, but we don't possess the ball the most during the game. So the ball moves a little bit slow, but I think it's just because of that final third where we're just they're not connecting and the chemistry's not there in the final third.
Right. They're just passing it in the back, trying to pass it to the midfield and see if we can get a play started. It's blocked off, so they reset and start passing it from the back, and we start all over again, basically.
Yeah, correct.
And the next question from this game comes from Sarcastic Turtles. Who scores first, Baird, Sebas, or Franco?
Sebas.
Yeah.
Franco. I say Franco.
No. I was going to say Franco too, but I'm going against Foxtrot because he says Baird's going to score more than Sebastian Pereira for the city.
We all have our guy. We all have our guy.
I did say that, but I was saying for this particular question, I was only joking.
Yeah.
And I like to say Sebas. But I'm still standing by my hot take, by the way. I'm not saying that Baird's not going to score first, but rather that Sebas is going to score first.
He's got to start first, too.
Right, that's why really Baird has the best chance.
Yeah, he can still score off the bench, Sebas, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. And hopefully Franco will be back for this weekend's game. I mean, he doesn't have far to travel to San Jose from Mexico or Paraguay. Just travel straight up north over there by now. He needs to be back with the team and practice. He's down in Paraguay right now with his son. So, we don't know if he'd be available this weekend either. And Coco's playing tonight, so we don't know if Coco's going to be available to start this weekend either.
Yeah, and I guess the last question that we got was essentially and one question that I also missed that we can for like the person that added it was essentially which one of your DPs is most likely to be freed and how. And I guess like the answer for this one is assuming that Coco stays. It will definitely have to be either the team buying down Teenage Adebayo's DP status, because I feel like that's something that Dynamo had to sort out at some point.
Yeah, let me ask you. I'm gonna just answer it by asking hypotheticals, and y'all correct me because y'all know the MLS rules more than me. We have 3 players that if they get hot, someone overseas can get interested in them, So what if that's the case? Coco goes back to La Liga, Teenage gets bought by a team in Turkey. Do we retain that DP spot for this year, or has it been used?
We can use, so assuming that happens, that we get those 2 DP spots back, so we can use those again.
Okay.
But we have it. So it depends if the transfer window's open.
Okay.
So yeah.
First off, Coco's not a DP to begin with, so
yes, my bad,
Teenage would have to be would have to be transferred, or we'd have to buy him down at the end of the season. And then Sebastian Fadea, if Ben Olsen's not in the same clubhouse as Sebastian Fadea, then we need to do something with him. We can trade him within the MLS, or we can transfer him, or whatever. Yes, we get the DPs back, but
yeah, I was thinking mostly Teenage because Sebas. Yeah. I think we're gonna ride with him for a while now, and Ache obviously I don't think there's not much that can be done.
Yeah, he's not going nowhere. And Teenage is out of contract at the end of the season, so we just give Teenage a different contract next year, and he's not the DP. And if he wants to get paid like that, then so long. But we're bringing in the Danish guy, and that's where the Danish guy can fill in, and him and Bartlow could be our 2 center backs.
Yeah, and the last thing I can say about that one for sure is that Pat Onstad and Asher, and during the offseason, they've essentially been hinting at the summer signing. Maybe it's something that they've been working for a while now, and maybe it's something that will be utilized in the designated player spot, but that has to be seen. That's more speculation on my part.
Right.
So maybe they're still working on that, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, easy money, bro. Dynamo win. We travel to San Jose on Saturday night for a 9:30 Central game. So, guys, it's a late game for us here in Texas. If you want to do an away party, go to Eureka Heights, where you can find the Surge at Eureka Heights, and they'll do a watch party there, unless you're watching at home on Apple TV. And just so you guys know, we won't get into, I don't think we need to get into too much detail here, because you can go listen to Instant Ramen. We interviewed Fabian Rankel yesterday, and we'll release that episode tomorrow morning on the Instant Ramen episode. But we talked to him for a good 30 minutes, and we got to learn about San Jose and what to expect for them, and what we could see in San Jose this weekend. So, guys, go check it out. It'll be a different link than obviously this episode, but go check it out. What's up, Herman?
Yeah, real quick. This rarely happens, so this is a historic moment on Noodle Time. But OSG has a fact wrong. So for the interest of not showing up to the wrong pub, this weekend is Phoenix on Westheimer. Phoenix on Westheimer.
For who?
For the watch party.
No.
Yes.
That's the Dynamo. That's the Dynamo watch party. I don't get it wrong when it comes to
you, dude. Damn it.
Nah, bro.
Herman, you gotta be careful next
I
time.
do.
He's in the
I do.
search leader man.
Yeah.
I report for the Surge. I report for the Surge.
Damn it. No, so either or. You can't go wrong with either watch party. 9:30. You're probably
Dynamo watch party at the Phoenix on Westheimer, but the Surge watch party at Eureka Heights. And then, of course, El Bation, I believe, will be at Texas Tailgate if you want to follow them.
That was it. I was just trying to.
But yeah, and I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about the San Jose game. They're essentially even with the Dynamo in the standings. They're just over Houston by 1 point, and we have a game in hand. And I feel like this is one of those games that they can definitely get a result. And if they just keep playing the way they have been in the past 2 home games, they can definitely pull it off. And yeah, they're also coming off, I believe, a scoreless draw against Toronto FC, which isn't one of the hottest teams in the Eastern Conference. So it's still early in the season, and I can't really say much about San Jose as well. But what I can say for sure is that the Dynamo, they have the tools to do it.
Well, like I said, y'all go listen to the episode that we did with Fabian. It was actually me and Herman that talked to Fabian yesterday. Foxtrot was out there playing a lousy indoor game that he didn't do too well in. Sorry, didn't mean to give your news away, but hey, y'all go check it out. I guess what we can say is Espinoza for you still got Ebobisi, who is a prolific striker up front, and he's going to be dangerous when on aerials. But Espinoza's having a great season so far, and he's going to be one in the middle. He plays right wing, but he kind of verges into the middle. So it's going to be key for Smith to keep an eye on him, and Art or whenever that dude comes into the middle, because he likes to take shots from outside the box. So it's going to be a dangerous game, so it could be a high score. And we played them to a 4-3 win in Houston, and we played them to a 2-1 win in San Jose last year. So you don't know what you're going to get, but we're having trouble scoring right now, and they're playing better defense than they did last year. So it's the game is just kind of up for grabs. So watch it, throw the H's up, and just enjoy, because we need to get a road win for sure.
Yep. All right, and before we move on to the Dash game, would you like to do the MLS recap?
Yeah, bro. So, Herman, you're not used to this MLS recap, so if you got something to say as I breeze through a game, just stop us and you can give a quick brief one. But I run through all the games, and it's going to be very quick. Portland and Galaxy end up 0-0. Memo started again, but Memo did nothing. So, Memo's coming to us here in 2 weeks and playing in Houston. We'll cheer him on. I'm sure he'll get a start just because he hates us. But whatever. Our friends who we also did an interview with yesterday, Charlotte, the Offsides podcast with Charlotte, invited Herman and me on yesterday, so we joined them. They played the Red because they're playing New York. We played New York, so we kind of did a collab yesterday. They played the Red Bulls to a 1-1 tie. Columbus whooped Atlanta. Atlanta. Woo! But they whooped Atlanta 6-1. So that was just when the soccer gods said Atlanta doesn't want to play no more today.
Yeah, and one thing I can add is that I believe Columbus played a bunch of their Columbus 2 players from MLS Next Pro, so kudos to them.
Wow, that's even more amazing then. And Columbus had a great MLS next pro team last season too. So they got some players over there to look out after. New England goes on the road and beats a surging DC United 2-1. So New England's still on a run, top of the Eastern Conference over there. Chicago with a big upset in Inter Miami 3-2. So Chicago's being a surprising team. Here's another surprise. Orlando, who has not been playing too well, went to Philadelphia and beat them 2-1. Philadelphia don't lose at home. So
that's
Philadelphia, yeah, bro, they got something to figure out before they play the rest of the season because they're supposed to be the top team in the East. Yeah. And then our ugly rivals from 290 West over there, they ended up tying 1-1 at home against the high hopes of Colorado. Yeah, that was good to see. Of course, we won our game 1-0. Minnesota tied Vancouver 1-1. I'm hearing Zarek Valentin is still getting some playing time. FC Cincinnati went to Nashville and won 1-0. So that looked like that was a brutal brawl. And then our rivals SKC at home finally scored a goal, but they lost 4-1 to Seattle. So boo.
Jordan Morris, that game. Like, SKC's defense just fell asleep and let Jordan Morris do whatever he wanted. Like, he scored 4 goals in that game, and that's insane.
That is nuts, bro. I was hearing that because I was listening to Extra Time today because they did a segment on Houston, and they titled it Houston's Back, Baby. So I went and listened to it, but I got a little hint on the Jordan Morris thing. But, bro, who the hell is St. Louis City? Do y'all know who this team is?
The best team in the league, man.
The best team. They went to Real Salt Lake on the road and destroyed them 4-0. They're 5-0, 15 points in the league. Have not
best team in the league. Yeah,
best team in the league. LAFC beat our other little North Texas Oklahoma rivals 2-1. Good game for that. And then, as you mentioned, San Jose and Toronto were 0-0. And that is the MLS recap. Austin is off next week, and Dallas has to travel to LAFC, I believe. No, sorry. Dallas has to play – where did it go? Oh, yeah, they host Portland next weekend, and Austin is off.
Yep, and with that cover, let's get into the Dash game. And it's going to be a change of a tone because this game was very stressful, very upsetting, all the emotions. As I like to say, because I had to watch the replay because I had to attend a friend's birthday and I couldn't watch it live. And I was watching the replay, and like just me watching the game, it was just like pure feelings of hatred because of all the chances missed and the chances that were against us that were also missed. So it was like just roller coaster of emotions, just flying around. And this game just ended up being like a 0-0 tie, and it was just upsetting to see, honestly. Just that all the chances missed, and I was having like a pretty good team, and it was obviously it's just being the first game of the season, and they have to. This is a long way to go, obviously, but at the same time, this is not finishing their opportunities. Has been like one of the things that they had to fix for a while now, and it's just upsetting to see that they had like so many opportunities and so many talented players as well, and they weren't haven't been able to capitalize.
Dude, 107. I don't know if I don't remember what the stat was here. Through balls or over the top balls or forward passes. 107, most in the NWSL for the weekend. Yep. And then I retweeted 107 missed opportunities at the same time.
But these opportunities, what's frustrating is that they were like fantastic scoring opportunities where some of those I'm like, how did the keeper save that? You know?
Yeah.
It's not because they're not creating, you know, they got a different problem than the Dynamo. They're creating quality chances. It's just that they can't put it away, you know? But the goals will come. It's just frustrating that none of those went in. The stadium was ready, you know? So
a couple pointers for me during that game. the chemistry was very off. And granted, these are a bunch of new players, and it was a different starting lineup. We had some players that were injured and wasn't able to play. Annika Krill, back on the Iron Woman from last year, couldn't even start opening day. So Jacobs, who said it first? Jacobs got the start over there. And, Salmon was on the right. Ordonez was in the center. But there was so many just – they had bad passes. They weren't. If you're watching on YouTube, they weren't cuffed together. They weren't in tune together, and a lot of that fell off. Ryan Gary's had a great game. And was getting down that wing left and right. She started over Maria Sanchez, which I said Ryan Gary's and Maria should start, but for some reason Maria Sanchez was benched for the starting opener, and I didn't get to go listen to the press conference to see if that question was even asking what the answer was to that. I'm sure somebody else did, but man, Ryan Gary's had a great game. She had an Olay, and you can see that on TikTok. You can see it on her Instagram, and she several opportunities where they were getting down there, but we need more team chemistry to come together. And I blamed the score on Manny from Bio City. Manny, our guy that does all the press, he predicted the score to be 0-0, and I told him, "No way, bro! There's no way," before the game, and then I had to slap him after the game, like, "Bro, it's your freaking fault. This is what happened, 0-0." But like y'all said, bro, the team looked great. They had a lot of shots. They had a lot of opportunities. Louisville had some opportunities as well at the same time. But man, they definitely should have come out with a big win. And unfortunately, there was only 6,000 fans there in the entire stadium. So we failed at trying to get a good crowd there for opening day.
Oh, yeah, and one of my very few highlights, at least for the players, that did seem to play very well in this time around, even though that didn't show on the scoreboard. Like Ryan Garris, I was particularly impressed by her. She was just everywhere. She was just creating chances out of nowhere, or like out of nothing, really. And she was running the ball like extremely well. Diana Ordonez, I was also impressed by her. Her spatial awareness and just knowing where to be at the right time. I really appreciated that. And,
bro, speaking of Ordonez, she reminds me of Hector Herrera because he plays so nonchalant whenever he receives the ball on his feet, and she had such great technical ability during this game. Like you're not expecting the ball to be touched right to her feet, and she's shielding at the same time. She had great control, and I'm right there with you on how she has the technical ability. She showed that she is a special player.
Oh, yeah. And also a shout out to Jane Campbell, because I've been giving her a lot of crap, especially in the past few episodes when we were covering the preseason, because I've been saying that her spot could be in danger, and she made some key saves to essentially keep the Dash scoreless. And shout out to her, really, because I've been giving her crap because last season I felt like she was off, especially towards the playoff game, and hopefully things are going the right track. And coming out of this game, she looks like it's in good shape now.
Well, see, and I'm kind of with you this year, and Herman can back me up because we talked about this last season. I gave Jane Campbell so much crap last season, so much crap. But when it comes to reactions, she makes the save that every goalkeeper's supposed to make. When she has to think, she gets herself out of position when the opponent's attacking on them fast, and she's not on her line and she's not ready to defend. She's backpedaling or whatever. That's when the mistakes come from her, and she gets herself in trouble. But as far as a reactive keeper, if she would just stay in position and stay on line, she could be the greatest keeper ever. And that's probably what gets her in trouble as far as her thinking, is why she's not with the U.S. national team as a keeper, because she had her opportunity and she didn't thrive on it. But Jane Campbell, you had a good game, so I hope you can continue and quit trying to support the team so much. Just do your job.
Yeah. And if you guys have some closing thoughts about the game, if not, we can also start thinking about the next game, which is on the road against the Chicago Red Stars. And
Well, we did have one Twitter question.
yes,
I don't know. I
and
don't know if we do want to answer that one.
no, yeah, and yeah, it just well, we do have a couple, which is essentially just like Chris the bad guy or the bad guy Chris, essentially asking Sam Lady out, and to that I can say I have no comments.
Bro, don't get me started on Chris the bad guy. He's a defender of Clarkson. First off, so we'll go. I'm putting you out there, bro. Like it's on the air now. He's a defender of Clarkson, and he thinks the girls are crap for like putting him in that situation. I'm like, I said, bro, like just shut the STFU. Just support the team, support the girl. Send Lady out. Hell no. Did I have questions about him yesterday? Yes. He didn't start Maria Sanchez. He took Ryan Gary's out pretty early. And when there's no reason she should have came out. I thought Salmon should have came out, to be honest, because Salmon didn't perform at all yesterday. So I was expecting Salmon to come out Salmon did come out at the same time, but it wasn't for Sanchez. Ryan Gary's came out for Sanchez. So I expected Sanchez to come in for Salmon, and you throw Ryan Gary's on the other side. And so he made some calls that I questioned during the game, but Sam Lady out, no. You can imagine what finger I'm throwing at you right now, Chris.
He's just trolling you, man. He's funny, dude.
Yeah, he's a troll.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
And the last question we got for the Dash game was from Sarcastic Turtles against asking how much do Dash beat Mexico by, and this is talking about the upcoming friendly against the Mexican national team on April 11th. And I keep saying that I want to see Maria Sanchez and Diana Ordóñez just switching teams every 15 minutes. That would be pretty fun to see. And I feel like it's going to be like a high-scoring game. I feel like it's going to end up being like 3-3 or something like that.
I imagine so, but I don't think they're going to switch teams unless they switch at halftime, but they both already came out and said they're going to play for Mexico. So we're going to be losing those two attacking players. I mean, we still got a great depth for the Dash, and the U.S. women's national team always beat Mexico 8-0. We'll just throw that out there. So, I mean, there's a chance Dash can come out and beat Mexico. It will be in the Orange Oven, the Shell Energy Stadium. It'll be a fun game. I hate that it's on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night because I would love to go to that game. Maybe I'll find a way to go to it just to enjoy that kind of game and that kind of atmosphere and just support the girls. But yeah, whatever. 3-3. You're probably right. It's gonna be an exciting game, and we're not going out to hurt Mexico either at the same time, especially when our girls are playing for them.
Yeah, I was hoping they play one half for each team, but like you said, OSG, they already came out and said they'll play for Mexico, which low-key opens the door, for like some depth players to step up and start earning some of those minutes. Because if he already benched Maria, like the door is wide open, man. Like go make the best of that playing time, that opportunity.
No, yeah, and that's definitely going to happen because it's a midweek game, and this crowd schedule, they're definitely not going to risk some certain players to rest them up for the next game, and that's definitely going to happen. I feel like
that's true because we have a game on either side of the weekend. Yeah, so I mean, rest is going to be important.
Yeah, and those were the questions for the Dash game, and we did talk a little bit about the Chicago. They are coming off a 3-2 loss on the road against San Diego Wave, and I feel like that they're one of the better teams that did improve significantly over the offseason, and it's we'll see how it goes. And I feel like that doesn't tell about Chicago Red Stars, even though they got on the board a couple times, and I feel like they can definitely be a threat. So we'll see how they do in Chicago.
And a quick reminder, that game's at 1 p.m. on Saturday afternoon up in Chicago. So, guys, you can catch it on Paramount or go to another bar and catch it out over there. But watch your girls at 1 o'clock and then take a break, relax a little bit, and then Dynamo at 9:30 on the same night.
Yep. And before we move on to the last Twitter question, if you want to do the NWSL recap.
Yeah, man. So obviously there's only 12 teams, so the NWSL recap doesn't take very long because there was only 6 games. But like you said, Chicago went to San Diego Wave and they lost 3-2. So you can see that was a great game, and Chicago is going to be quite the friggin' opponent right there, bro. Our Achilles heel, Kansas City Current. They went to North Carolina. They lost 1-0. So I don't know if that's good news for us or not. I mean, it's good news because they lost. And then, like you said, San Diego beat Chicago. Washington Spirit at home. We talked about this. They were 21 champions, and then they
Yes.
were so from first to worst last season. They beat OL Reign 1-0 Saturday. So that was kind of crazy to see that score. And then, of course, the best team in the league destroyed the Orlando Pride 4-0. Portland with the win right there. That's crazy. Dashed Louisville 0-0. And then here we go. Juan Carlos Armos. Man, that fool.
Boo.
He went to boo. With Gotham, went to Angel City and won 2-1. Man, so he
That was my upset of the weekend for sure. Like, even though Mortis plays for Gotham, or at least coaches for Gotham, he did a pretty good job, especially out coaching LA City.
Yeah, dude, for real. So that's your NWSL recap.
But yeah, and to close this episode, let's go ahead and get into the last question, which was from Philip Felswich, essentially asking us for our thoughts on the Dynamo win streak and Dash home and season opener. And I feel like for the Dash, it was definitely frustrating, especially with the chances that were missed. But to talk about the Dynamo, one of the stats that I saw recently was that Houston hasn't had consecutive home wins with clean sheets since 2014. And that's an insane stat because that just tells you how much we have regressed over almost a decade now. And yeah, just the amount of negligence that has that the team had to go through, and the coaches that went by, and the players as well. And this just shows that there wasn't a plan in place already, and it just shows that they didn't really care, like both Gary Brenner and Matt Jordan.
For real, bro, for real. And I'm hoping the win streak can continue, but we have a home winning streak that we'll have to prevent against the LA Galaxy. But can we get our first win on the road this season? And we're going to have to build off this momentum we got right here, but at the same time, we're going to have to score. So that's going to be tough, Philip. It's going to be tough to get another win in San Jose against a tough opponent. They got 7 points. They're ahead of us. I think they're tied for 6th or 7th in the playoffs. We're at number 8 right now with 6 points, but like I said, we got a game in hand. So that's going to be tough, bro. Let's go out there and let's do our thing.
It's a good measuring stick, It's a good measuring stick match, I feel. Even opponent but away. So it's challenging for us. So it'll tell us where we're at as a team, I feel. It's a good measuring match. So I'm excited for it.
Yep. Yeah, guys, you have any closing thoughts before we end the episode?
The same as always, man. You know where to check us out. You know where to find us. Noodle Tempio on Twitter, Dynamic Foxtrot, our own personal, El Danalytico, old soccer guy. Hey, this episode comes out as y'all listen to this episode's obviously going to be out. But go check out Instant Ramen. We interviewed Fabian Rankel, I'll say it again, from San Jose Area Sports Net. He also does betting for Forbes. So go check him out. That was a pretty good interview. He's pretty entertaining. He gives us a lot of information about our opponent. So if you're curious about our opponent, please go listen to it. Check it out. Like I said, Herman and me, we joined Offsides podcast from Charlotte yesterday and just kind of talked some footy with them. Go check that out if you're interested about our opponents. It's not always about Houston, but we love to keep the H's up. And, I'm there for it, brother. H's up. Surge.
Hey, guys. Yeah, stay noodle.
Stay noodle. H's up.